Have you ever wondered how rivers curve or why they curve? Why are some rivers straight? Why do some look like a roller coaster? Does this have you stressed out? Well, let me tell you. These loop-like formed rivers are called meanders. Like this one. Or this one. Yep, even that one. The reason why some curve and others don't is because the different water pressure creates different speeds. Faster moving water moves bigger amounts of sediment. Meandering rivers erode sediment from the outer curve of each meander bend and deposit it on an inner curve further downstream. This causes individual meanders to grow larger and larger over time. Since this process takes so long, here's a demonstration used with different types of sand to give a visual idea of how meanders form. Oh, and by the way, you might want to keep in mind that we use different types of sediment. Kind of important. The water continues to have the same speed, making the meander keep its form. But if we look closely, we see the sediment moves faster in deeper curves, causing more sediment to move. That is how the loops continue to form. Then we increase the speed of water to see how does that affect the shape of our meander. Once the water speed increased, all the water spilled over the loops there were before. After the water was turned off, even though all the water spilled over, we can still see the trail of the meander. And you might be wondering, why are meanders so important? Well, if there were no rivers, it would be difficult to supply people with enough clean drinking water. Almost all the drinking water we use comes either directly or indirectly from rivers. There would also be a loss of fish and wildlife as well as transportation for many industries that use rivers to move their products. One of the drawbacks is the occasional flood, which can destroy a few crops. Well, there you go. Meanders are pretty amazing, huh? How about we move on to what happens to all that transported sediment? Let's talk about sediment deposition. Deposition is the laying down of sediment carried by wind, water, or ice. Deposition occurs when the forces responsible for sediment transportation are no longer sufficient to overcome the forces of gravity and friction. So deposition is basically the buildup of sediment. We can see after the meander demo was turned off, all the thicker sediment like pebbles stayed up building sort of a wall, preventing all the sand to slide down. On the other hand, the thinner sand traveled through the pebbles and built up. You may be wondering, why are sediment transport and deposition so important? Well, many ecosystems benefit from the sediment transport and deposition. Sediment builds aquatic habitats for spawning and benthic organisms. It is also responsible for providing nutrients to aquatic plants as well as vegetation in the nearshore ecosystems. And we all know everything is a cycle, so it essentially is an idea that biological sources such as coral are part of feedback loop with the ocean's atmosphere and sun. Rivers erode material from one location and then deposit the material in another location. Rivers begin life as mountain streams. As the water comes down from the height and passes through different rock and minerals, it erodes these materials at different rates according to how hard and resistant these materials are. The eroded particles are absorbed in the river and washed away downstream where they will be deposited according to the geology of the area it happens in.